In today's world, if someone wants to know about Jesus, they could just talk to a Christian. And in the Old Testament times, God had specifically chosen Israel to be his representatives. What about groups of people who never had historical interactions with Israel or the church? Does God have a plan for them? Some people learn about God in traumatic circumstances. Some children learn about God from parents or pastors who have abused them. Some entire nations are introduced to Christianity by means of violent conquest. How can someone have a clear understanding of who God is and accept what Jesus did on the cross when he was misrepresented through harm, trauma, and pain? Within Protestant Christianity, there are many theories about how this works. The most restrictive view is exclusivism, where the only people who can be saved are those who have actually heard the gospel and accepted it. A scripture that supports this position is Romans 10:14. But how can they call on him to save them unless they believe in him? And how can they believe in him if they have never heard about him? And how can they hear about him unless someone tells them? There is also inclusivism, which says that some people will be able to be saved even though they don't know the gospel. Inclusivists say that it is only Jesus who has the ability to save people, since there is no other name under heaven by which we must be saved. But that Jesus can save someone, speaking to them in their conscience without them knowing it's him. Some take Romans 2:14-15 as proof of this, when Paul says that even some Gentiles demonstrate God's law written on their hearts, even though they have never heard of it. There are more open forms of inclusivism too, which might be considered relativistic. Every religious or spiritual path is a possible way to get to God and salvation. A third position, and the least restrictive of all, is universalism. Universalism is even more inclusive than inclusivism, since it says that eventually everyone will be saved, no matter who they are. Many Christians find this principle to be worrisome, since in theory, it could eliminate the need to evangelize and share the gospel. Universalism may also imply that there are no consequences for bad moral actions. If someone is saved regardless of their choices, it may reflect badly on God as a moral judge. Universalism paints a hopeful picture, but it's also a bit unrealistic. This is a difficult topic. We should respect those who are seeking the answer, but come to a different conclusion than our own. God is free to save people, even if we fully don't understand how he does it. Jesus died for all people, and so he is able to save all people and forgive sins. But since we cannot predict or know who God will save in ways beyond our understanding, it remains our duty to do what Jesus said and spread the gospel of his kingdom to the world, to everyone.